Alright guys, UFC 303 is here, and these are my official picks and predictions for every single fight on this card. I will also be placing and letting y'all know who are the underdogs of the night and the locks of the night. Without further ado, let's go. First fight of the night, Ricky Simon versus Vinicius Oliveira. I think I'm gonna go with the underdog here. Vinicius Oliveira, he's a wild man. Now, I'm not confident with this pick. Ricky Simon does have good cardio and he is tough, so it's not going to be easy to put him out. But Vinicius does have the capacity to go all in and end the fight early. But if the fight goes longer, I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't able to pull it off. But I'm going to go with my hunch here and go with Vinicius Oliveira. Next fight, Ray Tatsura versus Carlos Hernandez. I'm just going to go with Carlos Hernandez. He's more experienced. He's been in the UFC longer. He's fought some tough fighters in the UFC. Ray is good. Looks good coming off Contender Series, but this is his debut, so I'm just going to go with the most experienced fighter between both. The next fight on the card, Andrei Arlovski versus Martin Buday. Look, Andrei Arlovski is old, man. It's time to hang it up. He's reaching that age where there's really nothing else to give. He is a legend, former champion. Everything has all the accolades. But Martin Buday is a blob who knows he's a blob and fights how he's supposed to fight. He's going to keep the distance, but still put under pressure. He's younger. He's more now. I know he lost to Shamil Ghazaev, which is a terrible loss on your resume, but he does have skills. He's not bad. He's not a slob or no slouch. So I'm gonna go with Martin Buday. Next, we have Michelle Waterson Gomez versus Jillian Robertson. I'm gonna go with Jillian Robertson. Michelle Waterson Gomez is 38 years old, while Jillian Robertson is 29 years old. Look, that's all I need to say. One is on a decline and one is on a... She's going up. Now, Waterson is better on the feet, hands down. If she's able to keep it on the feet, I see her pulling it off. But I think it's inevitable. She's older now. She's going to get taken down. And Jillian Robertson is going to make that submission early. Next fight, Peyton Talbot versus Yanis Jamuri. I probably botched Yanis's name, but whatever. Peyton Talbot is the biggest favorite for a reason. He's going to have a good performance. I've been on his hype train since before he defeated Cameron Simon. I'm probably the only one who picked him to beat the hell out of Cameron Simon, and I'm glad that I cashed out on that. But yeah, Peyton Talbot by a TKO in this fight. Next, we have Charles Jourdain versus Gene Silva. One of the hardest fights to pick. These guys match up really well. The lines are very close on this, but I'm just going to go with Charles Jourdain. I think he's going to try and keep this longer. Look, it's either Gene Silva gets a knockout or Charles Jourdain stretches it out to a decision. A very close fight. It's 50-50, but I'm going with Charles Jourdain. Next, we have Cub Swanson versus Andre Fili. I'm just going to go with Andre Fili. This is another close fight, but Fili is younger, even though he's past his prime. But Cub Swanson is way past his prime. He's older, you know. You could say he's less experienced, but skill-wise, I think Fili has that wild mentality to go in and have a knockout. I don't think this will go the distance. I think Fili will try to finish this, or Cub will try to finish it. Yeah, I know Fili just got knocked out brutally by Dan Ige, but Dan Ige knocks everyone out, and he was on a good streak before he got knocked out. So I'm just going to go with Fili here. Next, we have Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I'm going to go with Joe Pyfer by a knockout. Look, he did lose to Jack Hermanson in his last fight, but everyone loses to Jack Hermanson. That's pretty much the gatekeeper of the middleweight division, and just a bad matchup for anyone. So I'm not going to take that or take it as a big L to Joe Pyfer. He is well-rounded. He's more well-rounded, has more skills, and I think he's going to use those hands to take Marc-Andre out. Andre is tough. You know, he might stay on the feet. He might be really defensive and try to keep his distance, but I think Joe will eventually catch him. Now, on to the main card. One of the most exciting fights that I'm looking forward to, Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Page. Now, Michael Page is still being underrated by a lot of people, man, because he came from Bellator or whatever. He's an example of not all the best fighters are in the UFC. That's just a fact. Michael Page is very, very good. I'm going to pick him to win this fight by a decision or a knockout. I think he's going to try and stink it up. He is someone who picks his shots and chooses when to look dominant in each round, and I think that's what he's going to do. Now, Ian Gary is very skilled, still undefeated. This is another 50-50 fight. I'm not going to bet on this fight, and I won't be surprised if I'm totally wrong. Ian does know how to keep his distance and keep the pressure on when he needs to, which he's probably going to try and do. But I think if he doesn't install some grappling, Michael Venom Page is a more skilled fighter in my opinion. Yes, he's older, but I think he's got this. He's going to take the first loss to Ian Machado Gary. And I think Ian Gary is kind of underestimating Michael Venom Page, and that's going to come back to haunt him. But hey, I might be wrong. Next fight, Mario Bruno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. I don't know why this fight is on this stage of the card. Should probably be in the prelims, but whatever. I'm just gonna go with Bruno Silva. She is tough. She's gonna put in the pressure. It's probably gonna be a boring fight. Chiasson has a big chance. I think she's better on the feet and she's bigger. She's a bigger fighter. But yeah, I'm just gonna go with Bruno Silva. I'm not even gonna go deep into this fight. Next, we have this weird matchup that started off with Jamal Hill versus Kyle Roundtree, and then Kyle Roundtree popped and got out the fight. Then it was Jamal Hill versus Alberg. Jamal got injured. Then it was Alberg versus Anthony Smith. Alberg got injured, and now it's Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. I'm gonna go with Anthony Smith in this fight. On paper, no pun intended. He is a better fighter, more skilled, more experienced, and he's fighting at his weight class while Roman Dolidze is moving up to fight him. Roman is tough. This fight, I would say, is going to go the distance. Roman is not stupid. He's not going to make the same mistake which Petrino made in this fight against Anthony Smith. But I think Anthony Smith is more of a dog. He's going to make it a dog fight. And in those type of fights, he tends to stretch it out and win. Another close fight, anything can happen, but I'm going to go with Anthony Smith. Next, another entertaining fight, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Look, Brian Ortega, man, I don't know, man. It's like when I pick him to win, he doesn't. When I don't pick him to win, he does. But you know what? I'm just going to pick him as an underdog on this fight. I think he's going to catch Diego Lopez when Lopez is trying to go wild. Look, Diego Lopez is a wild man. He goes all the way in. He is pretty well rounded and he has heavy hands. He might put Brian Ortega out. Brian Ortega has a tough chin, but everyone cracks at some point. But I think Ortega is just way more experienced than anybody that Diego has ever fought, This might be the awakening of Diego Lopez, because if he wins this, there's an argument he just needs one more fight before a title shot, which is crazy. But I think Brian Ortega is a smart fighter when he chooses to. He does have good fight IQ. I think he's going to find an opening. Look, I'm going to say, yeah, Brian Ortega is going to submit Diego Lopez, but that's a stretch because Diego Lopez is a fantastic jiu-jitsu artist as well. So I don't even know. It's really tough. I've been going back and forth on this fight, which is one of the main reasons I made this video, because I thought I wanted to switch my pick. But right now, I'm just going to go and stick to my gut with Brian Ortega pulling off this upset. Next, the main event, Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka. Look, man, Jiri has called out Alex Pereira on using his spiritual tactics and his spirits and his summoning to help him in all his fights, and Alex Pereira didn't even deny it. Look, man, in this fight I'm gonna go with Jiri Prochazka. I think he's going to pull it off. I am a little worried that he said he's going to fight the same way against Alex Pereira, not being defensively sound, not checking those leg kicks, not just eating the punches and stuff like that. As you get older, your chin gets older. So I don't know if that's a good tactic. I hope he fights smart, which is a hard ask for someone like Jiri Prochazka. He's a very awkward guy, awkward head movements, but he pulls it off, man. In my opinion, he was winning their first fight before it was called off early, but I think this fight will be similar. But I do think Jiri is going to find an opening and he's going to win this fight by a knockout or TKO in around the third round, second or third round. This fight is definitely not going the distance, and it's another 50-50 pick. Alex might catch Jiri again with that left hook, but yeah, my gut is gonna say Jiri Prochazka, leading up to a fantastic trilogy. But yeah, guys, those are my picks for the night. Now, the underdogs that I am confident in is number one. Let me see. I'm just gonna go with Diego Lopez. I don't know why I'm confident in him. I just don't know. And then Vinicius Oliveira. 50-50 confidence. Anything can happen in that one. Jiri Prochazka, I'm not really confident in him. Now, the lock of the card is Peyton Talbot, obviously, but he's such a big favorite that it's just hard to bet on him. Another lock on the card is Joe Pyfer, in my opinion. But yeah, guys, UFC 303, my picks and predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, please, please like and subscribe, share, all that. I'll see you guys next time.